In front of me here is a 2019 R1M. This motorcycle is very, very close to or comparable to the Ducati V4R versus the regular R1 is your Ducati V4S. With the V4R, you get a motorcycle that is pretty much a race bike for the street, and that's exactly what this motorcycle is. It's got a number plate and it's pretty much road legal, but underneath everything, it's a race bike meant for track use. As you can imagine, this motorcycle is absolutely dripping with technology. The major differences between the R1 and the R1M is that this motorcycle, as you can see, has the electronic suspension. And there's also electronic suspension at the rear. The engine has titanium push rods, and you get magnesium wheels for the front and the rear. And as you can see here, it's got a data logger, so when you're at the track, it tells you how fast you're going, what your lap times are, etc., etc. I would absolutely love, I would kill to get this motorcycle on the track. Oh my goodness. I rode my R6 on the track and I had a fantastic time, so I can only imagine what this one's going to be like. So if you haven't seen my R6 video, make sure to go check that out. Other than that, the seat height on this motorcycle is 33.9 inches. It is a rather tall motorcycle. And what makes it even more intimidating and difficult for shorter people like myself is that the seat is rather wide. So not only is it a challenge to ride, but because the seat is wider, you lose a couple of inches of your inseam as a result of that. So if you're a short person and you would love to purchase something like this, but you're intimidated, well, you're in luck, because I just created a video for people like yourself and myself who are short and want to get into sport bikes. So make sure to go check that out as well. Full wet weight on this motorcycle, as Yamaha says, it is 450 pounds, and it's powered by a 999cc 4-cylinder 200 horsepower engine that has 82.6 foot-pounds of torque. As far as braking power is concerned, you get a 320 millimeter discs in the front and 4-piston calipers. And so enough talking. I think now it's time for us to take this baby on the road and see what it's all about. Let's hear this baby purr. Well, it is a little quiet, but that's not going to last too long, because if I know Chris well, and I know him pretty well by now, he's going to get the exhaust changed out ASAP. I can't wait to rev up higher in the gears and hear the cross-plane crank sound of this engine. It is one of those signature notes that you can never ever get bored of. The motorcycle is pretty smooth on first impression, and the quick shifter is pretty smooth as well. But here's the caveat. In first gear, you can ride this motorcycle all the way to 100 miles an hour, believe it or not. 90 or 100, I forgot, it's one of those things. But wow, it is so flickable. Wow, it almost feels like a 600 class bike. It almost feels like my R6. Very, very interesting. I love discovering little things and nuances about motorcycles. So in this review, just so we're not all over the place, we're going to be talking about comfort, the suspension, how it feels, because it is adjusting itself as we ride, adapting to the situation. That's what this electronic suspension is known for. And we're going to be talking about speed, but what is there to talk about when it comes to speed? It's pretty damn fast. But I'm sure there's always something to talk about. All right, on the highway we go. Let's test out the acceleration. Oh, baby. Oh, and that sound, it is intoxicating. Oh, baby. Oh, wow. I feel like a little kid. I got a vibration under my booty from this engine. Yes, you will feel a vibration, but you don't feel any vibration on the handlebars itself. It's a pretty smooth motorcycle. As far as the suspension is concerned, it's pretty smooth as well. Obviously, it's not going to ride like a comfortable GS bike or a touring motorcycle. This is a race bike, so I do feel as if it's a little bit on the rough side, but it's not like it's any worse than my R6. third gear and I'm not even giving it the full beans. And this thing has got power. Not for days, but for years. Wow. If I keep riding these leader bikes, I'm definitely going to own one. This is ridiculous. And I love the fact that the R1M is not going to break the bank like a V4R. The V4R, although it is a super expensive motorcycle, is also tripping with technology, and obviously it's got that exotic appeal because of its Italian heritage. But this motorcycle is not that off because this has the MotoGP heritage. Well, in all fairness, so does the V4R, but it's not that far from the V4R. Oh, wow. Oh my god. I'm gonna get in trouble really quickly. This is a lot of fun. Alright, let's get up the highway before I get in trouble. Woo! This is seriously fun. Alright, regular roads. Let's see what this baby's like. So, as far as the throttle response is concerned on the street, it shares the same DNA as my R6. When you're very, very low in the rev range, let's just say getting off of 1000 RPM, it does have the same personality as the R6 before I got the tune. So it is snatchy, it is off and on, but that could be resolved very easily like I got mine resolved with a simple tune. And I'm sure that Chris is definitely going to do that. My guess is that he's going to put a full exhaust on this motorcycle and then he's going to tune it up. Baby. Man, this thing is just a toy. That's exactly what this is. This is not a commuter bike. It is simply a very, very expensive toy that you can get a lot of trouble in, or you can have a lot of fun in if you take it to the track. Right, Chris? You're gonna lend it to me to take it to the track? Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Look at me having a conversation with myself with an imaginary Chris. Oh man. So before we get too ahead of ourselves, let's talk a little bit about the road mannerisms, because not everyone is going to buy this bike and straight away take it to the track. A lot of us are going to buy this bike and ride it on the street like I am right now. Yeah, so the off and on throttle is a pain in the butt, and it so reminds me of my R6 when I first got it, and I think that has to do with emissions and all that other junk. Once again, the shifter on this thing is butter smooth, but otherwise the seating position feels very, very similar to my R6. The aggressiveness of the clip-ons feel very, very similar to my R6, and when I'm looking at the windscreen and the mirrors, I can't tell the difference between my R6 and this one. So it feels pretty much the same bike, and if you're not riding this motorcycle that quickly, you couldn't really tell which motorcycle you were riding. The only way you could really tell is by looking at the dash, because it's a TFT screen. Otherwise, the triple clamp is different as well, and some of the switches and buttons look a little bit different as well. The suspension does feel a little bit different, and I haven't really messed with it, so I'm not exactly sure if there's a setting right now for a street mode or a track mode. I haven't touched any of that stuff yet, but maybe we can pull over later on and check that out. But I gotta tell you though, I'm doing 45, 50 miles an hour, and the bike feels very, very flickable. It is 450 pounds, but it's got those magnesium wheels that makes the turn-in a lot easier. It kind of like, once you turn the bike a little bit, it kind of wants to go in by itself. Riding on regular roads like this, it's not all that different, like I said, than my R6. I don't really feel it. If you wanted to know what the differences were in terms of riding, not really much, to be honest with you. The gearing, I can tell you, is one thing that is majorly different. The gearing on this is extremely tall. Like I mentioned, in first gear you can literally do like about 100 miles an hour or close to it. I believe about 90. I reviewed a ZX-10R a couple of weeks back, and the ZX-10R I believe does 105 miles an hour in first gear, which is astonishing. On the highway, you barely need to get out of second gear, and on regular roads like this, you barely need to get out of second gear as well. In second gear, doing 40 miles an hour, I'm doing about 4,000 RPM, which is astonishing. It's one of the pluses of riding a leader bike motorcycle. You know, they are very intimidating because once you go, if you're in first gear, second gear, once you go past 6,000 RPM, the floodgates of torque and horsepower opens up, and that's when you're being pushed back. No matter how long your arms are, they're going to grow a couple of inches by the time you get off this bike, if you're going really, really quickly. So you get what I'm saying. It is extremely fast, very, very intimidating to ride, and don't you dare think about buying this as your first bike. Nope, I don't think so. First of all, it costs a lot of money. You drop this bad boy, you're going to do a lot of damage to the carbon fairings, which are going to cost a shit ton of money to replace. And not only that, first bike, 200 horsepower with 86 foot-pounds of torque. Where do you go from here? Like, you're already at the top. Like, seriously, how will you ever appreciate a motorcycle of this caliber in the future if you decide to upgrade? The beauty of starting out slowly and gradually increasing displacement and horsepower is that at every stage of the game, you appreciate what comes next. But if you're already at the top of the game, there's really not much to appreciate, my boys. And girls, actually. Because there are women watching my channels. Hello, ladies, if you're watching my channel. Leave a comment down below and give a shout out to yourself if you're a female and watching my videos. Now, the irony of owning something like this is that you can barely do anything with it on normal roads like this. Like, I'm in second gear right now, but it's got so much potential, and unfortunately, I really can't do much about it. If you want to take this motorcycle to its limit, you definitely have to be at the track. That's where something like this really shines. A 600 class motorcycle, every now and again when you have an open road, from one light to the next, you can get to 10,000 RPM, 11, 12,000 RPM. I've done it before, and it's a whole lot of fun. It's usable power, but with something like this on normal roads, I'm really not sure if it's usable power. This is a whole lot of power for the street, and but on the track, with its inertial measurement unit and data logging software and electronic suspension and all that other jazz, oh man, this thing is a dream come true. So on surfaces that are not that bumpy like the one I'm riding right now, it's really not that bad, to be honest with you. Just on bumpy surfaces, I wish this motorcycle adapted, but once again, the adaptive suspension probably has to be set for road use, and then at that point, on bumpy surfaces, I think it might change itself. This motorcycle is a lot of fun to ride. I wish I had it. I wish it was mine. I would ride my R6 on the street, and I would ride the R1M on the track. No, wait, what am I talking about? I would ride both of them on the street and on the track. I just came back from riding the R6 on the track. Man, I had such a good time riding that thing. No way would I leave that only for the street, but I would love to take both of them and kick everyone's butt with it. Because the R6 is a race bike, and so is this, let's admit that. Except that the power differences are vast. The R6 being 114 to the wheel, and this I'm assuming somewhere around 180, 170. But we don't know the figures, but I'm assuming that's what it is. 200 versus 120 something. There you go. Let's just agree to that. I absolutely love this motorcycle. I wish I had enough money, and I wish I had enough space. I would definitely buy this bike to accompany my R6 on track events. I would switch off between them. This is a whole lot of fun to ride on the street, but as you could imagine, it is meant more for the track. It is dripping with technology, it is dripping with carbon fiber, and it is an absolute beast and an absolutely gorgeous motorcycle with its magnesium wheels and carbon fiber fairings and everything else to go with it. So thank you so much for watching, and please don't forget, if you want to support me, go to petropowered.co, where I sell merch. I have a variation of different t-shirts that I sell on the website. But otherwise, give this video a like and also subscribe to the channel, and I will catch you guys on the next episode. Ciao for now.